If there was one driver out there in the Cup Series that you were looking at, who would you say is today's Kenny Schrader?
Oh, well, I think they're all better than that, though, now.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, Thunderbolt, Georgia. Another installment of Rubbing and Grubbing. Rubbing is racing, grubbing is tasting. Man, I hope everybody out there is having an amazing Wednesday night. Got a little bit of NASCAR news to go over. Got some things to talk about. We actually got a race going on this Sunday at the Coliseum, as you see it here behind me, so we'll get into that in just a bit. The Winter Freeze going on up there at Grubbing Motor Speedway this weekend. I think this is the 13th edition of it too, man. If you haven't been up to Grubbing Motor Speedway yet, it is an awesome establishment. John Henderson vouches, says they got the best pork chop sandwich on the planet. The racing is going to be great. Got an interview in here earlier with Kenny Schrader. Got a very special guest on board with us tonight, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Kenny Schrader. So, Kenny, just got a couple questions for you. I know you and James Griffin put on a real big event up there at Grubbing Motor Speedway. So if you would, tell us a little bit about that and how you got involved in it.
Well, I've been able to have the opportunity to go run it the last couple of years. I'm not really involved in the promotion or anything, but just really liked everything to do at the Speedway. I like that Red keeps investing back in the Speedway and making the facility nicer and nicer. And I really like all the good food he's got to eat up there. So, we've been able to run it the last couple of years, and looking forward to going again this weekend.
All right. Yeah, so I know kept up with you a good bit of your career before and after NASCAR, and we know you're a big dirt racing guy. So tell us, what kind of keeps you going in that? What gives you your passion still, to get behind the wheel, a few times every week or every month and keeps it going?
Yeah, well, last year we were in a race car 92 days.
Whew.
So and we were down a little bit last year. So we'll be in over 100 days this year. But, I was very fortunate that I've done nothing but race for a living since 1979. And when your Cup days were over, which we ran our last race in 2013, well, I don't want to not be racing something. So I was always very partial to the dirt track. So here we are, still having fun. And okay, this weekend will be. I think that'll be days 10 and 11 that we've been in the car already this year.
Oh, man, getting it going early. I like it.
Yes, we were out in Arizona for 2 weeks and then northern Georgia last weekend.
All right. Yeah, so getting back to those glory days in NASCAR there, talking a little bit about that. When you looked at that schedule that came out, what was that one racetrack that you had circled on that calendar that said, hey, I'm ready for this one. This is my favorite place to go drive?
Well, I've always been kind of partial to Daytona 500.
Right.
And, just Daytona Speedway in general. And what really like there is we would always, you'd fly in Thursday evening, you'd be in the camper Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then fly home. And the nice thing about going to Daytona 500 is you were there for a week and a half. It was almost like you were at home. But you had to like all of them. Atlanta was always very high on the list because the track was so much fun to race at, and the people were really into it there. So I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I've had quite my time at Atlanta Motor Speedway for a long time too, and got some stories there. But yeah, Daytona, I think it holds a special place in everybody's heart. It's different when NASCAR kind of holds its Super Bowl event first race of the year instead of waiting until the end of the season. So, and always action packed as well. So that's a great choice there. So, got one more question for you before I let you get out of here. So, in today's sport, if there was one driver out there in the Cup Series that you were looking at, who would you say is today's Kenny Schrader?
Oh, well, I think they're all better than that, though, now. I grew up in a different era, obviously. My hero was like A.J. Foyt and Mario Andretti and them guys that would run the IndyCar 1 week and then, hey, we're going to go run a NASCAR race, and we're still going to go run the Sprint car or Silver Crown car or something like that. So because of that, I really like the extracurricular activity racing that Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell and say Chase Briscoe and some of the other ones are still doing.
Yeah, I tell you, I think it's the passion that they have just for the racing itself, and there again, being a dirt fan and a huge NASCAR fan, you can definitely relate the differences and how talented you have to be to do either or, and how they kind of coincide hand in hand. And I think the big thing is just having that time behind the wheel, that little bit of extra practice, and just having that passion for what you do. It definitely goes a long way. So, Kenny, I'm going to let you get out of here. Thank you, sir, so much for calling in and being part of the show. It's my pleasure and honor to be able to ask you some questions, and hope you guys kill it out there at Grubbing Motor Speedway this weekend.
Well, we just want to hope people come out and enjoy the racing Friday and Saturday. We'll be, I think they have an open practice Thursday night, and then we'll be hitting it Friday and Saturday, so come on out.
All right, sounds great, brother. Thank you, Kenny, so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, and that's Kenny Schrader, y'all. The man, the myth, the legend himself, right here on Rubbing and Grubbing. I tell you, I was talking to him a little bit before we came on, and it was just an awesome pleasure. It's one of my dad's favorite drivers to watch when we were there at the racetrack and in the sport. And I tell you what, he is just an awesome, awesome guy. Such a nice guy, down to earth, just like me and you are, man. I mean, so there again, thank you, Mr. Schrader, for that. Greatly appreciated. And don't be a stranger. Anytime you want to call in and talk a little racing, it doesn't have to be NASCAR, I'd be more than obliged, sir. Thank you very much. So if you guys know anything about NASCAR, you know he's a legend, a mystical legend, okay? Kenny Schrader is the man, all right? He's going to be up there racing. You got to think. I think it starts Thursday with some practices. You got Friday and Saturday races. $19,000, I think, to a payout to one of the classes. A lot of big money going on up there, man. So if you're looking for something to do, there again, make sure you go check out that Winter Freeze. James Griffin does a great job getting that track ready, prepping that track for these races. Great establishment up there. Can't talk highly enough about it, man. So again, Winter Freeze 13 going down, Grubbing Motor Speedway this weekend, y'all. Make sure you head up that way. Before we get started, I do want to say my thoughts and prayers and condolences go out there. Lost a buddy of mine this past week I've known for quite some time. Really good guy, Mr. Danny Monroe. So thoughts and prayers out there to Jamie and everybody. Thinking about y'all for sure. Before we get into it, you know how we like to start out with the word of the day. So today's word of the day is going to be, I have no idea, but whenever Lawrence throws it up there, basically every time I say this word during the broadcast, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage, all right? I like to say it's age appropriate as well. Anybody under the age of 21, you want to play along, look, Christmas break's over, you're kind of getting back in the fold of it, but you got to get a little wild on a Wednesday every once in a while, man. Get some Kool-Aid, some sweet tea, get an energy drink, man. Get it cranked up for sure, man. So last week's word of the day was, let's see, teammates, which I'm sure I talked about that a little bit. Probably had a good buzz at the end of the show, but like I said, today's word is going to be, I have no idea. Every time I say it, take a sip, y'all. So getting right into that NASCAR news, man, we are just a few days away from seeing track action for the first time since Phoenix last year. I'm pretty stoked about it. Not necessarily one of my favorite NASCAR events they put on there at the Coliseum, but it is very unique. And hey, at the end of the day, we do get to see some racing. So, tune in. I think they got some qualifying and stuff going on Saturday, practice qualifying. That race starts Sunday at 8 o'clock. So make sure you tune into that. Should be a pretty good event. There again, I'm ready to see some cars. I'm sure everybody else is too. So I'll definitely be tuning in, man. So NASCAR this week also released updates to the rule books, man. And I tell you what, a lot of these changes are pretty good. I usually kind of down NASCAR on some of the things that they do, but some of these rule book changes are pretty good. So at the end of the day, they're allowing a little bit more time for that damaged vehicle policy. So it used to be 5 minutes. Basically, if you wrecked your car, you had 5 minutes to repair it. If not, had to pull it to the garage. Once you hit the garage, you can't come back out. So this year, they're going to give them 7 minutes. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but for these professional, guys and engineers and mechanics, what they do, 2 minutes is a lot of time. And then getting into the playoffs, it's going to be 10 minutes. They figured out to change that lower control arm that we were bending up quite a few times last year. It took right around on average 6 to 6.5 minutes. So they gave them that little bit of time, which I think was a great rule change. Also on top of that, they changed the rules as far as the loose tires go. So loose tire on pit road, getting away from a pit member, et cetera, you're going to start at the tail end of the lead lap. Last year we saw some things happen, and it kind of ruined a lot of guys' day. This year I don't think it's going to be too bad. Now, if that tire comes off and escapes pit road, you're going to have to come back down pit road under green as a pass-through penalty. There again, if you lose a tire on track, that's a 2-lap penalty. Now, as we all know, if you watched last year in this next-gen car, you lose a tire. If that car comes to a stop, it is very difficult to get that car moving again. So we'll see how all that plays out for sure. Also, biggest news as far as what the rule changes are, the wall ride of Ross Chastain is no longer allowed. That has been outlawed by NASCAR. Not under necessarily the rule that they were looking at for, what it was last year. Basically, it's just for safety of the crew members and personnel and fans. The NASCAR didn't really penalize it last year. There was nothing in there to go, hey, it was the first time we ever saw it. But this year, it's at their discretion. So we might see something similar, let's say at a California or something, somebody rides the wall there through one turn or something. Maybe they don't penalize them. Maybe they kind of let that go. I'm sure people will bitch and complain about it as they did with Ross Chastain's wall ride. But at the end of the day, it's just part of racing. It's part of safety. NASCAR has always been trying to move forward with those safety issues. So I'm not a fan of it. I think if it's last lap for a win, everything should go. There again, it was kind of for a win for him. It was to make those playoffs, and he did exactly what he needed to do. So can't be mad at that. Speaking of Chastain, Justin Marks, co-owner over there at Trackhouse Racing, man, I tell you what, had a great idea. And I think that we even mentioned this, if not last year, year before on Rubbing and Grubbing, was kind of like a all-star throwback series for NASCAR, right? You get different generations of cars, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. You get those cars back. You have drivers that want to drive them go out and do some exhibition races, like 4 a year, one series 1 week, and then whenever. I think there again, Darlington would be pretty cool to see some 70s cars rolling around with some updated safety, or even any of those areas, like maybe a short track. Definitely don't want to see a super speedway in there. That wouldn't be interesting, but got some potential, man. So I think Justin Marks is on the idea, and there again, I think NASCAR needs to listen to ownership and the fans like us that also said the same thing last year, a couple years ago. I for sure got to do that. So do want to say, if you guys haven't yet, please go out, like, share, follow all that social media out there. We're on Twitter, we're on the gram. Biggest, most of all, that YouTube channel. Like, subscribe. As you know, we put it out last week on Rubbing and Grubbing. We had this authentic signed Kyle Larson Championship 2021 helmet. We just got to hit 250 subscribers. I think we jumped up 44 last week, Lawrence. 44 subscribers last week when we put this out. We're up to, I think, 191 or 192 right now. So look, as soon as we hit 250, this is going to go to somebody. All you got to do is go down, subscribe to our channel, hashtag Larson. We're going to select somebody at random. We're going to call, DM you, private message you or whatever, and we'll be writing you and sending this helmet your way. So like I said, make sure you subscribe and get on that YouTube channel for sure. So getting back into it, racing in the rain on some intermediate ovals and short tracks. Now, this was, when I wrote this was kind of a little bit of iffy. It's a guaranteed thing now. We have a wet weather package for short tracks, such as Richmond, New Hampshire. We've had it on the road courses there for the past couple seasons, but it's coming to light on some other ones. Now, my personal opinion, I never want to see this on a 1.5 miles or bigger. I think that just takes away from what NASCAR is. It's not treads. It's not, that's just not what it is. Rain racing for NASCAR isn't. I understand Richmond. I understand New Hampshire. I don't think we'll be seeing them racing a downpour. But there again, it'll be pretty neat to see. I mean, not bad. North Wilkesboro's on the list as well. Hey, if it rains on that all-star race, they're going to throw the tires on there and the windshield wiper and go at it. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the quality of the racing is on this style. I know that the road courses, it did kind of go downhill. Circuits of the America a couple years ago, that was a little bit insane on what NASCAR did, and safety issues. If we talk safety, that had some safety issues involved there. But I think they learned, and we're just going to have to see quality of racing if it does happen in the rain. I hope it doesn't. I like a dry track, but at the end of the day, hey, if it does, they're going to scrap them on and go at it, man. So Chase Elliott making the return to the Truck Series this year, y'all. Going to be driving a truck. I think it's great at Daytona. I love it. I love when some of these guys, these big name stars, go back down to lower series and race. I don't like it every single week. It does kind of fill the stands. I think we need to kind of take a look at that in a way. But at the end of the day, man, it's going to be great to see the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Come on, man.
Chase Elliott out there wheeling the trucks. And I tell you what, he knows how to run some super speedways. Don't be surprised to see that truck up towards the front contending for that win. Guarantee you that. NASCAR media deal talks in the works. So the contract goes through 2024. We still got a couple years, man. But this is a big deal. This is a really big deal, not only for NASCAR, but it's a huge deal for team ownership. The owners of these teams. This is a big deal. So this is when they get to use bargaining chips to try to get some more money out of NASCAR. NASCAR takes in a lot of the media money. They really do. The broadcast money, the major corporations that you see on TV, NASCAR gets a lot of that. Team ownership definitely deserves a little bit bigger piece of the pie, and that's what they're working on. I think they're estimating team owners are going to ask between $16 and $18 million for those broadcast rights, which I think is a big deal. And I think it's well deserved for them. They're the ones that put the money into the equipment, the contracts for the drivers, et cetera, et cetera. I understand it's NASCAR sandbox. If you don't want to play in it, you can pack your shit up and go home. But at the end of the day, you do just have to think about it like this. These team owners spend a lot of millions of dollars to definitely, progress the sport, keep up with how they're doing, go fast, and make these, put on a show for the fans. So there again, also adding in a streaming, whether it's Amazon, who knows, but they're also talking about adding in a streaming to where you can stream NASCAR as well if you don't own a major cable company or anything like that. So I think that's a good deal. We'll have to see, but it's about time. It's time to pay up NASCAR for sure. Another note, man, talking about a little SRX, man, I tell you what, these guys got a lineup this year, driver lineup, and it's going to be very interesting to watch. I've watched a couple races over the past few years. It's very different, but it does put on a really good show. I mean, you got former guys, you got Ryan Newman, you got Bobby Labonte, you've got Brad Keselowski getting in it, you've got Haley Deegan's going to be racing again this year. You have Clint Boyer is going to be jumping in, man. I mean, you've got a lot of big-name guys from all different profiles of racing, and we're not talking small name guys, we're talking prolific guys. So if you haven't yet, make sure you tune in to that SRX race. That's going to be an amazing show this year, especially with all the talent they got for sure. So getting right into it, Checkered Flag for Charity. As I mentioned earlier, man, I lost a friend of mine down there on Tybee, Danny Monroe. So such an awesome human being, always had a smile on his face, always made some people laugh, man, just a really good all-around wholesome, great guy. So for the first few months here on Rubbing and Grubbing, we're going to be raising some money for him. We'll have some things going on with John Henderson's support as always, a couple Cooler Full of Joys going at some events. Different things, but there again, we're just trying to raise some money to help, his wife left behind a family. So, hey, man, you know how we do it on Rubbing and Grubbing and here at Coach's Corner. Anything that we can do to help out somebody local that we know, we're going to. So, a GoFundMe page has also been set up. Bethany Kellum, if you guys don't know, Tybee Times, Doc's Bar down there on Tybee, they have set up a GoFundMe, so you can also donate there if you're not here at Coach's to get involved in the fun, crazy antics that we do to raise money. But there again, anything is always appreciated. Nickels, pennies, dimes, 10, 20s, 150s, does not matter, man. Like I said, it's all staying local, going back to a family in the community. And again, we're going to run that for a few months, and then we're going to switch gears over to something different as well. So got a lot going on Rubbing and Grubbing this year and up here at Coach's Corner. So make sure you stay tuned in to us. And also, if you haven't yet, make sure you go out and follow John Henderson's Coach's Corner on Facebook. All the late and great news popping up right here at Coach's Corner, man. So we're going to pause for station identification right here real quick on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday night. Cheers, y'all. All right, man. So getting into it, Arbor Man Tree Service sponsoring Who's Hot and Who's Not. Like I always say, man, any kind of tree service needs, make sure you give Parker Eccles a call over there at Arbor Man. You're going to see that number scrolling on the screen all night long. Like I said, no job too big, too small. Give Parker a call. Doesn't matter if it's full tree removal, stump grinding, limb trimming, whatever it is that you need, man, make sure you give him a call. If you just need an estimate, not sure what it is that you need, give Parker a call, man. He'd be more than happy to come out and take a look. Locally operated, insured, ready to go, man. Parker, I love you, brother. I'm going to give you a holler tomorrow, man. We'll get together. So getting right into the who's hot and who's not. We'll start it out with the who's hot. Well, we got the Clash this weekend, man. So, I mean, really, that's got to be the hottest thing we're looking forward to outside of the Daytona 500. So, the Great American Race is going to make number one. I know we have this race going on, but, I mean, come on, y'all. Daytona 500 is the king of all king in NASCAR. This is NASCAR Super Bowl, man. This is a big deal. This is one that every single driver in that garage area wants to win. You get your name on that historic trophy, and nobody gets to take that away from you. So obviously that has to be the hottest thing. I'm going to be looking forward to it for sure. I always tune in to everything about Daytona, from qualifying to practices all the way down to that race on Sunday. That's going to be awesome. There's no better way to kick off the season with the biggest event than the Daytona 500. So make sure you guys tune in. I know grandstands tickets are sold out. I know a lot of camping spaces are sold out as well. So there again, packing out that big venue down there in Daytona, man. If you hadn't been there, you got to go see it. Awesome deal. NASCAR will make the hot list as well, seeing as how they have listened to some fans and begin to make some changes to better the sport. There again, I think that slowly but surely we're making some changes that are agreeable by a lot of the fan base. Good call on a lot of the rules. I think that's a really big deal. I think changing some of those definitely helps better the product you're putting out there on TV for fans and viewers. There again, there's still some things I think they need to work on. The schedule. There again, the LA Coliseum, I got some thoughts on this just a little bit later on in a different segment. A little bit of the schedule, a little bit of things that they got going on. But hey, man, at the end of the day, we're just going to see, roll with the punches. If you're a true fan, you're going to tune in every single week no matter what, because it's what you love to do, as myself. So there again. Getting into that who's not. Now, who's not much to say on the who's not, really, to be honest with you. I will say this, after this weekend, we're going to have quite a few who's hots and who's nots after we get done with this race, this Coliseum race. But I will say this, man. I think that the biggest thing that's not right now is a lot of the fan base in NASCAR complaining about changes. I will say that. I think that we talk too much about, oh, they need to change this, change that. When NASCAR tries to, we are very very strict on what we think is acceptable as a change. And when they do change things, we're the first ones to go, oh, no, they shouldn't have done that. And what are they doing? And this is stupid and yada, yada. So we got to give them a little bit of respect there. I think that there again, the fan base out there that just kind of wants to see NASCAR go with every idea they say compared to what's best for corporate NASCAR, which is really what it's kind of all about, the team owners and the drivers themselves and the product you're putting out. You just got to kind of zip your lips, man. So, great event to kick the season off. Like I said, it's a great venue here at the Clash. We're getting into that preview. Joey Logano came home with that trophy last year, the first time that race had ever been run. So we're going to see if that 22 car can repeat, or if it's going to be somebody new that gets to take home the medal this year. We're doing a podium, first, second, and third place medals, which I think is kind of cool. It's not exactly the first time I've ever seen it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be really neat to watch. So I think that we just have to kind of deal with it, roll with the punches and the changes they're making. I've got a few guys on a list here. We're getting ready to get into my top 5 and see who's going to kill it. So getting on, number 1, you can't really go against the guy who won it last year. I'll take Joey Logano, number 1 for sure. That's a champion. Lawrence is cussing. I'm going to throw $1 in there for Lawrence because he said the blue oval. So I'm going to throw $1 in there for Lawrence. For sure. At the end of the day, I can't take anything away. Last year's champion won this race to start the season out last year. I think he's going to come strong again, especially with having the knowledge of the next-gen car and this racetrack, not going into what ifs and whats. So that's going to be awesome. Number 2 on this list, another guy, Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is an awesome sport. I think this guy is badass. I think that he's going to come into his own this year in NASCAR, have a very, very strong season for sure. I think that Christopher Bell is growing. I think that, he's going to give it a run for the money when we hit the Coliseum. Great little short track driver. We saw what he did at New Hampshire last year, came back really strong and just dominated the end of that race, had a really good long run car. I know this is a little bit of a different beast, very flat, but I tell you what, I think Christopher Bell is going to run strong there in that Toyota for sure. Number 3. Kyle Busch in the 8 of Richard Childress, man. We got a whole new get-up, right? New team, new car, one thing in mind to win is what the man said. He's just trying to go out and win races. So I think there's no better way than to gel with a new team and a new ownership and basically a new manufacturer other than to get out there and get the win, man. So I got Kyle Busch 3 on that list. I think that he's got potential. I know he battled up there for a while last year. We'll see if he can get it done this year. 4 for me, you guys know I can't leave my guy out. Chase The Bulldog Elliott is going to be fourth on this list, man. I think there again, Hendrick Motorsports is going to have another dominating year. Hopefully we come home with a championship this year. The 9 really needs another one, you know, just to cement that legacy, that early born legacy, because we're not even that far in his career yet. He's not even in his 30s yet, man, and he's already a champion in the sport. So we do need 2. I think Chase needs to go out there and get it done. I think he's got a great shot. Started off right here, Coliseum, man. 5. Come on, man. One of the best drivers out there, talent-wise, got to be Kyle Larson, right? So I'm always going to go with those bow ties. We're running 3 bow ties at the Coliseum. I think Kyle Larson has potential to go out and get it. I did know he did tone down his off-season racing this year. He still got out there and got after it quite a few times, but he did tone it down, which I think last year kind of wore and tore on him, as we saw. And really, if you go back and look at that season, I don't think it's as bad as what everybody thinks it is. I mean, compared to the season before, yeah, sure, his championship season. But he had a really good season last year. Just couldn't get it done when it mattered, or had mechanical issues, or just some bad luck. I mean, that kind of shit happens. So look out for Kyle Larson there again at the Coliseum. Looking for a couple dark horses, I tell you what, it's got to be the 45 with Tyler Reddick, also, you know, jumping ship from RCR and going over to 2311. I think 45 and Tyler Reddick's going to be a great fit. I think that the man is going to help propel 2311 to the next step and next tier in the sport. Not that they were that far off. I mean, won some races last year with Kurt Busch and Bubba Wallace. So they're not that far off there again from contending every single week, week in and week out for those wins. And I think Tyler Reddick's definitely going to help. And no other than Austin Dillon.
Rubbing is racing and grubbing is tasting.
I mean, come on, man. You know, he's a fan of rubbing and grubbing. I got to go with my boy. I think there again, I think RCR is going to definitely take a big jump up this year in equipment. I think that they're going to contend. I think that Chevrolet in general is going to contend. I mean, we've seen this I don't know how many times throughout the years. And there again, I just think that the talent there behind the 3 might come to life this year. So watch out for Austin Dillon for sure, man. So getting into that next segment, man, we're going to get into that money line presented by Redfin Polarized Sunglasses, man. Got mine right here, rocked them. I just got back from a cruise, y'all. I rock these things every single day. They are my favorite sunglasses. I wish I would have got more pictures of me in them out there. I would have sent them out there to the fam over there at Redfin. But I tell you what, man, whether you got money on the line or a wall hanger, does not matter. Make sure you see it clearly with the best polarized sunglasses on the planet. Redfin Polarized, man. Got those Carl Zeiss lenses, Italian frames, so many different styles, man. It is just awesome. Like I said, these sunglasses are made for the water or the woods or just to look good. Go out there and strut your stuff, man. Whether you're offshore or on the lake, do not get caught without Redfin Polarized Sunglasses, man. Live life's fin up. Also, when you go to checkout, man, use code Rubbin' and Grubbin'. It's going to save you 15%, man. So getting into that money line, as I mentioned earlier, got a race this weekend, and there's a lot of guys that are looking good out there. A lot of those top guys are all at the same odds, which I kind of like. I mean, we can start the season out by making a little bit of money here. You know, you just kind of got to get into it. We're probably going to go in 100 units, we'll say, spread out through 4 guys, so a little 25-unit bet on everybody. And, I mean, first guy, like I said, I got to start with 22. I mean, I got to take Joey Logano, and I got to take Chase Elliott. I mean, those guys are all sitting at pretty good odds. I think Kyle Busch is right there around it, too. I'll take Kyle Busch. There again, like I said, if you want a little bit better odds, Tyler Reddick will probably be that 4th guy I lock in. But going a little bit further back in that pack, man, you better watch out for those boys over there at Legacy Motorsports, man. And Eric Jones in that 43 car, I tell you what, I think he's ready and poised to make some noise this year. So you got to get him ready. And I think that's a little bit of a better payout if you go that way. But those would be my guys I'm looking out for to get that win here at the Coliseum and also get a little payday, man. So with further note, I do want to let you know Lawrence did lock in the Austin Dillon for the championship at those odds. So we're going to roll with that all year long till maybe about the first 5 races. We'll find another little season championship contender out there. But rooting hard for that 3. Like I said earlier, crazy thing would be to see that 3 back with the championship on the 75th year anniversary of NASCAR. I mean, it could happen. I've seen crazier stuff happen in sports. It could happen, man. So getting right into the hard right turn, man, sponsored by Lamar's Body Shop out there, y'all. 35 plus years taking care of Savannah's automotive body needs. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're looking for the best, it can be found at Lamar's. Like I say, full service auto collision repair at its finest. 2301 Skidaway, right hop, skip, and a jump away from Coaches. So you can drop your car, come here, get some lunch, hang out with everybody. Awesome place. And there again, 2301 Skidaway Road, right up there. Hey, like I always like to say, man, don't settle for par. Go see Lamar, man. Love you, brother. Thank you for your support, man. So right there on that hard right turn, man, exhibition races and possibilities, right? So as you heard me mention earlier, this is an exhibition race, no points, just go out there for the money, for the show. I think there's a lot of things that NASCAR can definitely be doing different. I mean, they've been adding and removing races from the schedule pretty much over the last, few years since COVID hit. And I get COVID. You kind of had to jump around and do what you could to get that season in, and they did. And I think NASCAR did an amazing job of that. I think the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro is going to be an awesome event as well. Now, there again, I think this race behind me, this exhibition race, could be moved around, not to another football stadium, but to different tracks. I have my opinion as far as the playoffs goes. I think we should be hopping around at least 5 tracks in those playoffs, weather permitting tracks. I mean, obviously we know we can't go in November to Pocono. We can't go certain places, but I think we should be moving that around, and there's no reason we can't. You put that at the award ceremony, you put those tracks into a lottery ball thing, you pull them out and set the schedule, man. And I think that's awesome. We see home and away games change every year in every sport, whether it's the Braves, whether it's professional football, college football. That's just how it goes. So I think NASCAR needs to take a little, bite out of their book, take a look at it, and maybe make some changes. Now, like I said, North Wilkesboro, the one thing I'm going to complain about that is the price for the ticket. And I understand it is an event. It is not just like you're going to that race. I mean, they've got concerts every day. They've got an unbelievable amount of racing going on, and it's at a historic track. So I get it. But for the average family out there, say you and the wife want to take your 2 kids out there, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. So I think that's something else they got to look at. I think once we get over the aura of North Wilkesboro being brought back into that Cup schedule for that All-Star race, there again, I think we should probably start dropping some ticket prices. Just my opinion. I get it. You got to make your money. You got to have some kind of profit out of what you're putting in. But there again, there's a lot of other places out there. I'm excited to go back and see Rockingham. I really hope Rockingham makes it back on the NASCAR schedule. We can move this race here next year if it's ready and throw this thing down at Rockingham. I think that'd be an awesome race. I mean, high banks, fast, totally different get up than what we see here at the Coliseum. But there again, I know it's about fan base and spreading the aura of NASCAR and getting new eyes on the sport. I think that's a good part about it. But the bad part is, there again, I think there's a lot of different things we could do to better the sport through the schedule and what we have now than adding new venues and spending the money of what it costs to do this to the LA Coliseum. So there again, would love to hear your opinion on it. Make sure if you're watching tonight, drop a little comment. You watch this on YouTube every time Lawrence posts it up, drop some comments, man. Let me know how you feel. Love to chat with you about it for sure. So that's going to wrap it up for the rubbing. We are on to the grubbing, and this is one of my favorites. This is a staple here. I tell you, I really haven't found a better one quite very many places in Savannah, and this is one of my favorites, man. So I went with the home run burger tonight. Usually I hit the grand slam. Home run burger, cheese all the way, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle. Got the fries on the side. As soon as I get off here, I'm getting ready to tear ass into this hamburger. I promise you that, man. Like I say all the time, if you hadn't been to Coach's, you got to come up here. Great food, great fun. Been doing it since '91. I mean, these dudes know what they're doing. There is not one bad thing on this menu. You can change it up, add your own little flair to these staples they got. I'm telling you, every single piece of food that comes out of that kitchen is amazing. John Henderson, Adele Henderson, all their staff, waiters, waitresses, kitchen staff, everybody does an amazing job here at Coach's. So again, if you hadn't been here, Coach's Corner, Thunderbolt, Georgia, make sure you come on and check it out for sure, y'all. Got to give a big shout out there to Coach Carl DeMasi, man, with that Prep Sports Report. Make sure you tune into that every Saturday live right here in the Sound Garden. Coach does some awesome stuff, keeping you up to date on everything high school, whether it's football, girls basketball, boys basketball, hockey, lacrosse, swimming, golf. I don't even know what all sports they got in high school anymore, but Coach does. So there again, make sure you tune in every Saturday morning to that Carl DeMasi Sports Report and show your love. Coach, I love you, brother. Can't wait to see you. I'll be tuning in Saturday. You know that, man. So before I get out of here, just want to say thanks to everybody involved. Also, as always, John and Adele Henderson, thank you guys for letting me be part of the Coach's Corner Sports Network. I tell you what, there's no place I'd rather be, and I'm so proud to be able to come up here on Wednesdays, talk a little NASCAR, and be part of this family right here. Coach's family is one of the best families, period, man. So at the end of the day, like I said, I hope you guys had a great Wednesday night. I hope everybody out there is, staying safe. Hope you're spending some time with your loved ones. I hope you're getting ready to rock out the last 2 school days if you're in school watching. If you're a grown adult, hey, man, it's hump day. You got 2 more days before we start tilting back them cold beers. So make sure you get that work week done. And, hey, there again, you looking for somewhere to spend the weekend? Come up here to Coach's, man. Love y'all. As always, hug, love, kiss your loved ones. Till next week, as always, stay safe. Bam. Wash your hands, y'all.